This video will also feature the sounds of my cats having a literal hissy fit together. Oh joy. Is this even straight? Oh, my dark circles look insane. Look, they're genetic. I didn't even cover them up for my wedding, all right? Like, dark circles under my eyes, this is part of my heritage. I've accepted it. I'm part Romanian, this is just how we look. Hello again, and Chag Sameach, or almost. It is the Jewish holiday of Passover, or very nearly, and it is an 8-day holiday celebrating the Israelites' exodus from Egypt and freedom from slavery. So for keeping track, this is a happy one in the happy column, where this time we did win. If you're not familiar, we celebrate this holiday with a Seder, a word which means literally order. A Seder is a 14-step process that also supposedly includes dinner. We use a text called the Haggadah to walk through these steps, and it's traditional to have this dinner with friends and family. Although some rituals in Judaism are only for Jews to participate in, this is one in which it is acceptable and even encouraged to invite friends and family who are not Jewish to celebrate with you. However, there is a Christian practice of holding their own Seders, which we need to talk about because it is not cool and in fact quite ick. And we're going to discuss it in a new series I'm calling Just No! Christians and Christianity in general has a really big problem with yoinking aspects of other cultures and trying to appropriate them. And to some extent, that is acceptable. Nobody is getting up in arms about the pagan appropriation of Christianity with people having Christmas trees in their houses. I think we've all adjusted to that. It's fine. And there are some forms of cultural appropriation that are acceptable or even good. Cultural appropriation doesn't have to be a bad thing. As with everything, there is context here. So here's that context chaser. Christians are not Jews. The originators of the Christian faith and the people who codified those Christian traditions were very clear on that. In fact, it was very important to early Christians that they be seen as distinct from Jews. It's also important to acknowledge that once Christianity became a dominant and powerful force, Christians ruthlessly persecuted Jews, both on a large scale as a Christian institution in the forms of churches and on a smaller scale in the form of communities and individuals. In the entire history of the Christian-dominated world, Christians have been treating us as second-class citizens at best and destroying us at worst. So when you look at how Christians try to distinguish themselves from Jews and how they've harmed Jewish people, it raises some questions, like, why do they want to have a Christian Seder, and why do they feel entitled to this? Christian entitlement to Jewish traditions comes from the idea that Jesus was Jewish, and therefore Christians can and should connect with Judaism to be closer to Jesus. Now, I don't like to be provocative for no good reason, so when I say this is deeply stupid, you know that I mean it. Firstly, Jesus was Jewish back when that meant something else. Jesus was Jewish in a time prior to the current iteration of Judaism, Rabbinic Judaism, which has changed a lot over time. Jesus supposedly lived during the time of the Second Temple, during which Jews were still making animal sacrifices and had high priests. If you want to slaughter a lamb for a fancy dinner, be my guest, but Jesus didn't attend a Passover Seder as we have them today. Not even close. And the Passover Seder isn't about Jesus, and never has been. Early Christian writers and later translators altered Jewish holy text to insert references to Jesus. This is called supersessionism, the idea that Jesus is the completion of Judaism, and therefore Christianity isn't just the sequel, it's also the only important part. The idea is that Christianity and Jesus have fulfilled Judaism, therefore making it no longer necessary. Frankly, they're acting like they fixed Judaism and now it's obsolete, like an iPhone 1. And this is inherently anti-Semitic because it makes Judaism into a broken religion that had to be fulfilled by a Messiah that we don't recognize. This depiction of Judaism stages it as inferior to Christianity, which is anti-Semitic. The Seder is very explicitly about the Israelites leaving Egypt and bondage to the Egyptians, becoming free of slavery. There is no subtext and absolutely no Jesus. One part of the Seder actually references the coming prophet Elijah, who will herald the arrival of the Messiah, Moshiach in our words. And that's a way that Christians insert Jesus into their rhetoric because they believe that he is the Messiah, hence why they call themselves Messianic Jews at times. This is trash. This is garbage. This is not true. We don't believe that. And kind of altering the bones of the Seder and the way that our rabbis have created this holy way for us to interface with our tradition and our culture is fucking barbaric. I don't know, how much more can you take from us? How much more? Why? Why do you think this is appropriate? Like, if we were just a small minority group who had experienced, difficulties over time, it would be still rude to try and take parts of our culture and use them for yourself and change them. But we are also a group that has been ruthlessly persecuted by Christians for thousands of years in multiple ways, and we've never received reparations for that. So to me, it seems as though Christians don't value Jews and Judaism as people and as a culture that's separate from their own, and think of us as kind of an inferior cousin from whom they may steal the inheritance that our grandfather left us. It's just not chill. It's not cool. We don't like it. This is just a little video, but I hope it gets the point across. Basically, do not attend or participate in a Christian Seder. It's not cool. Jews find it offensive, and frankly, Christians have done enough to us without also doing this. Instead, if you're invited, you're welcome to attend the Seder of a Jewish friend or family member, and to appreciate Passover in a respectful way. If you are invited to a Seder, you can bring a bottle of kosher Passover wine, which is different than regular kosher wine. If you're at the liquor store, ask for kosher for Passover wine. Hot tip. Or you can also ask your host what they would like you to bring. There are specific foods that aren't allowed to be eaten during this time, so I would talk to your host about it. I really want Christians to think about and analyze how they interact with Jews and Jewish practices and why they act this way. If you think, this is for me, I'm allowed this, why do you think that way? Why do you feel that way? If you want to be an ally and even a friend to Jews and other religious minorities, you have to unpack why you feel so entitled to aspects of other people's culture and religion in ways that we find offensive. Thank you so much for watching, and Chag Sameach. We'll see you next time. We are hoping to have another video up this holiday about Passover, like Passover related. However, I've been going through it. My new job isn't really my new job anymore. I've had a new job for about 3 months, I want to say. It's the end of March. So I've had the new job, oh my goodness, 2 kitties, for a while. But the problem with the new job is that it's great. I love it. It's really different from the old job, but in some ways it's the same in that we're understaffed and overworked. But the problem is that now I'm in charge, so I have to be the one who's dealing with the overstaffing. I have to schedule everybody, and it's really, really hard. It's really hard. I do love it. I'm very lucky. So we hope to have another video up sometime early in April. But if we don't, I'm sorry. It's life. We both have full-time jobs. It just happens. But thank you for watching, and I appreciate all of my Jewish viewers. Chag Sameach. To all of my Christian or otherwise viewers, thank you so much for continuing to unpack the way that you see Jews in a mostly non-Jewish world. I really do appreciate you. Bye!